OK ですか？
Hi, hello, and welcome everyone to the first ever official Directometer presentation. I am, of course, Bardometer, and today it will be my pleasure to showcase all the amazing things in store for the channel and beyond. For those of you who are returning friends, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support you've shown in the past 5 years of Bardometer. And to those of you who may be new, please allow me to formally introduce myself. Hello, my name is Josh, aka Bardometer, and I am an independent internet musician with a big fascination in video game music. I've been uploading music as Bardometer since January of 2020, and outside of that, I do gigs as a keyboardist and a drummer for rock, funk, and jazz music. More about that later. I'm currently pursuing a degree in music composition and a minor in video game studies, and I hope to work as a composer for video games in the future. You can also follow me on other platforms like Instagram and Spotify, and we also have a dedicated Discord server up for fans and other artists to come and hang out. If you want to support the channel further, please consider becoming a channel member or donating through Ko-fi. Channel members will have access to a few exclusive remixes and get to watch most uploads days before the general public. In fact, all 3 music drops shared in this presentation will be available to channel members starting today. Of course, I'm also offering commissions, both originals and remixes. For more information, please refer to the updated commission document, which will be linked in the description. Now, for those of you who have been around the channel for a while, you may be noticing a few, let's say, asset updates. That's because, as of this presentation, the channel is receiving a large visual overhaul. This includes stuff like a new layout for uploads, and of course, a brand new render of Bardometer himself. This lovely art was done by Jay Park, a phenomenal artist whose website will be linked in the description of this video. Please check out their work and show them some love. Now then, let's get to talking about music. As I just mentioned, there will be a total of 3 live music drops during this presentation. Each of these remixes will get their own upload sometime between August and September. I'm also happy to announce that more original music is in the works. This EP-length collection will hopefully release before the holidays, but unfortunately, I'm not in a position to make any promises. At the latest, it will be out by next spring. The EP is made of various modern jazz pieces, each with a bit of an experimental twist, and all greatly inspired by my time studying music in the Bay Area. I really hope you all enjoy the vibes of The Hanged Man whenever it releases. Alright, how about we move on ahead to our next segment, collaborations? And hey, I'll be honest, the presentation's just begun, but I'm sure I've already talked your ears clean off. In that case, why don't I introduce the next segment with our second music drop, which is itself a collaboration. Alright, just got it sitting here on this totally innocuous flash drive, so let me just plug it into my computer with all my sensitive information on it. That's a weird error message. Wait a minute, what's going on with the stream?
Whoa, hold on! Stop! I was in the middle of something!
Hello? Are we back? Oh, man, good thing I had two-factor authentication enabled. Jokes aside, I hope you all enjoyed the instrumental take on Eggman from Sonic Adventure 2. Huge shout out to Xavier Maximus Clark on the saxophone, he absolutely killed it as always. A link to his website will be in the description so y'all can check out his amazing music. And of course, making amazing music with other people is exactly what this segment is about, so let's just get right into it. The first thing I'd like to highlight is my involvement with the Virtual Video Game Orchestra. VVGO is an open online group dedicated to arranging and producing covers of video game music. You may have seen me post about my arrangements on their channel, or even seen the arrangement I uploaded to this channel last Halloween. Earlier this year, I also got to be a producer and editor for our Cynthia Battle Rockestra community project, which was an absolute blast and featured some awesome guest stars. Our current community project is Wake Up, Get Out There from Persona 5, and if you'd like to come and participate, now's your chance! I will also be performing with VVGO live at our MagWest 2025 showcase. I hope to see some of you there, but also for those who can't make it, our concert will be live streamed on the VVGO Twitch channel. Speaking of live instruments, I'd love to introduce two live bands that I'm part of as well. I'm currently running a VGM jazz fusion band in the Bay Area called Fighting Polygons. We cover video game music you know and love with some funky fresh vibes. I'm also part of Elephant Garden, another indie band from the Bay Area. We recently released our first single, Nosferatu, on streaming services, and we'd all love for you to give us a listen. I'll be sure to post about any shows from both bands in the coming months. Now, in terms of collaborations with other VGM musicians, why don't I turn it over to a special guest?
Hello, I am Light Meta S. I do video game covers for YouTube, and I have recently had the pleasure of working with Bard, who is a very talented musician. Our first project in the works is a remix from Omori. He provided me with a rockin' drum track for it, and I'm in the process of mixing it now with some other motifs in there, one in particular. The other project that we're working on is a relatively large-scale medley for Deltarune, featuring some of the more prominent boss themes of Chapter 4. Bard is playing some of the lead parts on his guitar, and apparently we've got some very talented artists on board, and Newell, who has turned out to be a master of gameplay AMVs. So right now, what we're doing with the remix is ripping our souls out so we can literally say that we put our hearts and souls into the remix. No, we're not. That's not what's happening. But we are working very hard on it, and I'm really excited for you to hear it. Anyway, keep an eye out for it, and we can't wait to share it with you all.
Before we move on to our third segment, I just want to quickly thank you all for sticking around through the presentation. This year has been a very hectic and unusual time for me, but I'm very hopeful and excited for the future of Bardometer. And I hope you all feel the same way. That being said, I think I can probably guess what most of you have been waiting to hear about. Don't worry, I saved the last music drop for the end of the presentation, so there will be no more interruptions. That's right. I'm proud to announce that Revenge of the Medley will be officially releasing on September 1st. This medley has been a really long time coming, and although it's been delayed for over a year now due to multiple life interruptions, it'll finally be out for good very, very soon. So let's talk about it a little, shall we? As of right now, Revenge of the Medley is set to debut with over 40 songs represented and a 20+ minute runtime. Do bear in mind that these numbers may be subject to change before release. The medley is based around 4 Kirby characters, the iconic King Dedede and Meta Knight, and their twisted dimensional counterparts, Dark Meta Knight and King D-Mind. The medley is also divided into 2 sides, a Dreamland A side and Mirror World B side, reflecting these opposing duos, no pun intended. Now, I do want to make a clear disclaimer. There is no intended storyline to accompany this medley. The tracks I selected were picked entirely based on relevance to the characters and what they added to the project as a whole. Actually, some tracks are hardly relevant to the characters at all, or even to the Kirby series, but I felt that they added something meaningful to the arrangement, and I hope you'll all feel the same way when you hear the full thing. Rest assured, Revenge of the Medley will be a full celebration of Kirby music, and it is without a doubt the biggest project I've ever given myself. I hope to see you all again when Revenge of the Medley premieres on September 1st. Wow, what a presentation that was, huh? I hope you're all looking forward to what the next year of Bardometer will look like. There will be a lot of changes happening in my life before the next time I do a presentation like this, but no matter what, I'll still be making music and sharing it online for people to enjoy. Thank you, truly, for giving me the opportunity to do what I love. Wait, you didn't actually think Directometer was going to end with Revenge of the Medley, did you? Well, hold on to your seats for just a few more moments, because I got one last thing in store. Please, take a look at this. One last time, I'd like to thank you all for being here at the Directometer 2025 presentation. Earlier this year, we finally reached 1,000 subscribers, and I couldn't be more grateful for all the experiences and people that I've met along the way. I hope to speak to you all again soon, but until then, as I like to say, stay tuned.